Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 figure review, and today I'm doing a review of the 12th Doctor. It's a Wave 3 figure, 12th Doctor from the 3.75 inch figure range. So it's really skinny and small, obviously. That is majorly one of the major complaints amongst the sort of Doctor Who action figure collecting community, that they're too small and stuff, but I don't particularly mind it. I mean, I guess the alternative would be no figures. I guess that would be worse, right? I guess, but one of the accessories he comes with is the base plate, DW base plate, with a peg hole, like tab bit molded. So he could put his either feet, really, that one on, but then obviously his thing, so it'd be more sensible for that. But yeah, and it's just red, just like all the other Wave 3 ones and stuff. Personally, out of the 3 different colour palettes we've had, which have been blue for the first wave, silver for the second wave, and red for the Wave 3. I personally like the blue one the most, just because it links in with the TARDIS blue colour. Other accessory-wise, other accessory is his sonic screwdriver. It's decently painted. All the paint applications are put into the right areas. You know, there's the silver for the end, there's the white bit, then the black, then the silver, and then the bronze, and then the silver again, right at the end. But there's no real green at the end, I don't think, or maybe there is just a smidge. But it's just so small that I do prefer the Sonics for the 5-inch figures, just because then you can actually see them and put them into the figure's hands much better. At first I'm going to go through the articulation. 360 degree head all the way, so you can do look behind him fully. I don't know why you'd want Capaldi to do that. 90 degree arms, so they can go from there to there. In at the elbows, does full 360 arm, like all the way. Oop, I've swiveled it, so it's kind of weird, but and then the wrists do 360 degrees. As well. Obviously his hands different on both sides, but I'll get into that later. Then the legs bend at the knee joint, and then the feet don't really have any articulation aside from being able to swivel or, you know, turn at like a 90 degree, or if needs be a 360 degree. So for whatever reason, if you're demented, you could have Capaldi have his feet the complete opposite way, as though he's like dying or something, maybe. So if needs be, you can do that. I think his waist could swivel 360 as well, and yeah, he's got decent humanoid sort of articulation, and by humanoid I mean just like a normal ordinary human like figure. And that articulation over with, onto the detail. As I was saying, that hand's kind of sculpted in a way where it's kind of like a neutral kind of maybe holding or waving kind of sort of position, and then that one's obviously sculpted so he can specifically hold his Sonic. See what I mean? That's the thing with the smaller accessories. I'm definitely more likely to, you know, accidentally chuck them about and then not know where the hell they are. Head sculpt wise, I do think that this one is worse, to be honest, than the Christmas one. I do think at certain angles he looks more like Capaldi. I think at the front he just looks like a weary old man. Like, he doesn't have distinctive characteristics, compared to other figures. Whereas at least with the one for the Time of the Doctor set with the post-regeneration costume, he had sort of a raised eyebrow and that, and had some sort of distinct feature that made him look more like Capaldi's Doctor. And that, whereas here we have just a generic sort of plain old man face and whatnot, and I do think that's rather disappointing from character options, really. I do think at the sides he looks more like Capaldi, but from the front he just looks, like a normal old weary person. Head sculpt wise, hair sculpt wise, even more correctly over. Basic grey sort of hair with some finer detail. I'll give them credit where credit is due. There is some finer detail. And the ears are pretty decent, actually. I've only just realised. He obviously has ears, but they are so incredibly small. But there is little indentations, where the earlobes are and stuff like that, and the eardrums and stuff, to go into more detail, on the side of his ears. And that is incredible detail. Costume, there's the 3 buttons on the side, or sort of like buttons, I think. Then there's the waistcoat, black waistcoat with a mark down there. His white like shirt with no bow tie, obviously. And then creases on the back. Nice creases on the back, and just sort of attention to detail and a weathered kind of look to it. Or somewhat more a worn look to it, not like a mega weathered look, because weathering, the whole point of that, if you have heard people say this figure looks weathered and not knowing what it means, it basically means that it ages the figure and that, and makes it more realistic, realism, or just realistic. The shoes and that are really nice, really nicely detailed and whatnot, and the pants are really nicely creased on both sides, obviously more so on the front and that, and they are nicely detailed and done. And yeah, I think this is a decent figure. I don't think it's the best figure ever. I do think it is decent. It's a decent figure. I'd like to give it a well earned, probably, I don't know, like a 9 out of 10, or no, 7 out of 10. It's a basic humanoid figure. It's not the best figure ever. It doesn't really capture Capaldi's look, I don't think. Peter Capaldi's look brilliantly. I personally much prefer the post-regenerated sort of regenerated 12th Doctor with sort of with the Matt Smith costume still on, just because it has more distinct characteristics in his head, on his face sculpt, like he's got a raised eyebrow. It's more distinct, it's more, and it's a distinct characteristic of that figure and of the character at that particular moment in sort of the show and that, whereas this just feels very generic, very basic mold, which they seem to probably they'll probably seem to use later down the line, and then slightly alter the costume, probably more than likely, and say, there you go, there's a variant, because they love doing that. So yeah, I will give the 12th Doctor 3.75 inch 12th Doctor from Wave 3 a well earned 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching, comment, rate and subscribe.